The Young Turks brought to you by Carbonite Online Backup. Get a free trial at Carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.
A Fox News reporter, and we'll hear from her, and we'll hear CNN's, even more importantly, CNN's response to this, was claiming that the CNN reporters were duped into becoming a human shield for Muammar Gaddafi, that there was going to be a bombing at one of his buildings where he was, but because they were leading some of these reporters into an inspection and to sort of see the after pictures of Monday's bombings and Sunday's bombings in the Gaddafi compound. I don't even know how to say his name. Is it Gaddafi? What are we going with, JR? Are we going with Gaddafi or Gaddafi?
Well, I remember we talked about all the spellings before,
Yeah,
right?
We did. There was a ton of spellings. But,
I think maybe
now the pronunciation becomes an issue because you picture it every time you say it.
Yeah, I think it's dependent on which spelling is in your head at the time.
At the time. Okay, well, I
always think with the Q. For some reason,
that's funny, and I started the day with a rare G. But I'm going to go with Gaddafi for now, and then we'll see if we come back around in the next segment to a Quadafi. But in fact, Nick Robertson was there. They were touring what was left of the Gaddafi compound. And then, you know, there was a bombing that was averted because of that, because information was gotten to the bombers that there were reporters there. It was the AP, it was Reuters, and it was CNN. Well, Fox News had an opinion about this, and we're going to listen to Jennifer Griffin of Fox. She is a reporter for Fox, and she's the one that actually broke the story. This is Jennifer Griffin of Fox News. It's clip number 1, JR.
Well, what we've learned, actually, John, is from British sources, and it relates to that attack on Gaddafi's compound in the capital, Tripoli, last night. We were among the first to report that there were 2 British Tomahawk missiles that fired on that compound, fired from submarines in the Mediterranean. Now we have learned that the British fighter jets had 7 missiles. They were, in fact, going to be fired from Tornado fighter planes onto that compound, but the mission had to be cut short because of the presence of CNN television crews and Reuters journalists on the ground who had been taken to the site by the Libyan Ministry of Information. So the British generals in charge of the operation and flying those Tornado planes called off the operation to fire those 7 missiles that were supposed to be fired at Gaddafi's compound at what is being described as a command and control center to us because of the presence of CNN crews, Reuters crews, as well as some civilians that had been brought essentially as human shields by the Ministry of Information to that compound, Gaddafi's compound in Tripoli, John.
Well, you know, this story was refuted by CNN, and what's interesting about it is you see Fox News that has been giving a lot of air to the people that are against this military action on the part of the United States, that are against the Obama administration deciding to go in. They're saying unilaterally without consulting the Congress, and they may have some points about that, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But then you see that not only is it Obama's fault, the reason that it's not going well, according to them, which it seems to be going well, the reason it's not going well is because of CNN and the liberal media. Fox cannot have it both ways, and then of course they're you know trying to toot their own horns here by saying we were the first to. Actually, we were among the first to, and rather than talking about how amazing it is that we had the communications in place to avert the deaths of these reporters, who did not go in there as human shields, and we'll hear their accounts of that in just a moment, but to celebrate the fact that, oh my God, thank goodness we were able to get in touch with that British Tornado plane, and I don't know what one is, and I'm guessing Jennifer Griffin doesn't either, but I'll let her say that they can go into a situation like this and avert 7 bombs coming down on Gaddafi's compound because there were journalists there. Well, that should be something to be celebrated, because it seems like if once they're out of there, that shield is gone, and yes, we didn't get Gaddafi, but the way Fox manipulates the news to suit themselves at every turn is unbelievable. And then to talk about it as being even premeditated in any way takes a lot of gumption. Let's listen to our friend Jennifer Griffin once again. Clip number 2, Jennifer Griffin is talking about how Fox not only is reporting what happened, but they refuse to be a part of this conspiracy.
It was about 4:30 p.m. Eastern yesterday when the first smoke rose from Gaddafi's compound. 2 Tomahawk missiles had been fired from the British submarine that is in the Mediterranean right now. It's the HMS Triumph. After those Tomahawks landed, the Ministry of Information, Libyan Ministry of Information, went to the hotel where most of the journalists were staying. They asked journalists to come and see the damage. They wanted, this was, from their point of view, a propaganda opportunity to show that Gaddafi himself was being targeted because his compound had been targeted. Some news crews decided to go. Others, including our Steve Harrigan, did not go to the compound. They were concerned that they could be used as human shields. And what we are now learning is that British Defense Forces had to call off Tornado fighter planes that were loaded with 7 missiles that were destined for.
Yeah, we heard that, Jennifer. I think that if any reporter worth their salt would have been, killing to get to, or dying, I don't even know what the word is. They would be doing everything they could to get to that compound, to show the after effects of the bombing, whether or not it was propaganda. It doesn't seem like propaganda. It was said beforehand that they were going to go after his compound. They went after his compound. They knew at that time, or the presumption was that Gaddafi was not there. We're back to a Q now. Gaddafi was not there at that time. So any reporter, you would think, would be clamoring to get out there and report the after, to report exactly what had happened at the Gaddafi compound. So to criticize CNN and the Reuters reporters and others, I had heard that it was others, but let's just say it was CNN and Reuters that went out there to report that. I think that's interesting television. I think that's interesting journalism, and I think that it's important to show what the effects of this war are. And whether or not the Libyans invited them out there, whatever the reasons, that's good footage, and it's interesting to see what's going on there. And these are journalists in the field, and to criticize them for sort of setting up a human shield. They're saying they refuse to be part of a human shield. Never was it said this was going to be the case. And so I think it's totally irresponsible of Fox to say that. We have a lot of tape here from Nick Robertson. It's quite long, but I think it's important that, any time you turn on CNN at a time of war, it used to be via this terrible tape, and now it's via good video, that you'd see Nick Robertson on the ground covering war. And to impeach his credentials or his integrity as a journalist, to say that he volunteered to be a human shield, to be part of defending the Libyans and defending the Libyan government and Muammar Gaddafi, I cannot make up my mind how to pronounce his name. I'm just going to go with Muammar, the big guy, the colonel. But just, to impeach his qualifications because he went out to report a story is ridiculous, and it is beneath even Fox, but I don't even know what that means anymore. Let's listen to Nick Robertson, and mind you, this is not a short clip, but I think it's important that we give him a forum to explain what happened, and he does it quite eloquently. And this guy's the real deal. I mean, anybody who watches war coverage and knows about war reporting and knows about the people who have received accolades for their reporting, their Pulitzers and their other awards and recognitions, knows the name Nick Robertson. Let's listen to Nick Robertson, clip number 3, talking about being accused of being a human shield.
I want you to explain what you know about this suggestion, Fox News reporting that you, a Reuters crew, some other journalists were effectively used by Gaddafi as a human shield to prevent Allied fighter planes from coming in and attacking a certain position. Explain what you know about this.
Wolf, this allegation is outrageous and it's absolutely hypocritical. When you come to somewhere like Libya, you expect lies and deceit from a dictatorship here. You don't expect it from the other journalists. Why do I say that? Because Fox News has said that they didn't send somebody on this trip last night because they said it was a quote-unquote propaganda trip. They sent a member of their team. He was non-editorial, he was non-technical, not normally a cameraman. He was given a camera by the team and told to come out and come on the bus with the 40 other journalists who were there, who were free to get on the bus, free to get off the bus when they wanted. Told us when he was on the bus that even he, this member of the Fox team, was surprised that the correspondent and the normal cameraman weren't coming out, that he was being sent. This isn't his normal job, that he was being sent. So that's why I say what Fox is saying is outrageous and hypocritical. And the idea that we were some kind of human shields is nuts. I mean, if they had actually been there, Steve Harrigan, the correspondent here, is somebody I've known for many years. I see him more times at breakfast than I see him out on trips with government officials here. Other correspondents here who go out regularly say the same things. NBC, CBS, all the other news teams here go out, not on all the government trips. We didn't go out on another one yesterday. But we very, very rarely see the Fox News team out on the trip. So for them to say and call this, to say they didn't go, and for them to call this and say this was government propaganda to hold us there as human shields, when they didn't even leave the hotel, the correspondent didn't leave the hotel and go and see for himself, is ridiculous. We were taken there, we went in through the security, we filmed the building, we were given 15, 20 minutes to do that, 5 minutes at Gaddafi's tent, and then we were taken out. And I was literally physically pushed back on the bus when we left. That's how quickly the government officials wanted to get us out. If I sound angry, it is because I am. As I say, I expect lies from the government here. I don't expect it from other journalists. And it's frankly incredibly disappointing to me, Wolf.
Well, did this Fox representative who went with you on this trip, did he have a camera?
He was given a camera by the cameraman and the correspondent who stayed in the hotel and didn't go out, a correspondent who very rarely leaves this hotel. I don't know who he's talking to here to pick up and find out what the story is. When we go on these government trips, it's for a very simple reason, because we don't want government officials to film it themselves, edit it themselves, and then hand it off to us. We want to go for ourselves. We want to go and see, is it a command and control system? What are the telltale signs there that the government wouldn't let us see if they edited the tape? That's why we go, because we're news professionals, and we want to see it for ourselves. As I say, I'm disappointed, shocked. I find this a very, very poor situation, Wolf.
You listen to Nick Robertson, and the only thing that I disagree with him about and am shocked about is his surprise that Fox would lie this way. You heard him just say it. I mean, this man, Nick Robertson, is reported from the war front going back. I mean, I remember it as far as Baghdad early on in that campaign, and then into Afghanistan, and then wherever there is war, there is Nick Robertson. And to challenge his integrity, I think that he said more than I can say. But the fact that Fox is lying, I mean, when are people going to start pretending to be surprised that Fox is lying? I mean, I just can't believe it. And to hear him say those are biting words. I see Steve Harrigan at breakfast more than I see him out with other members of governments, foreign governments. It's sort of Fox just sends somebody there to be a spokesperson from afar, and these journalists are, to quote, to use an oft-used word, they're embedded with the government, with the fighters, with the armies constantly. So I really find it shocking that Fox would go with this, and I love the response. You don't usually get this kind of response from the media. The media that Fox picks on doesn't usually respond. They usually cower, they stick their tails between their legs, and they walk away. And it's what Cenk does so well, actually, and frankly. He's always responding to this sort of thing. But when you hear it directly, when you hear Nick Robertson, with all the medals on his chest of having been in these wars, when you hear him responding and impeaching everything that Fox said, not to mention the fact that Fox says they didn't send anybody. They made a choice not to be part of this propaganda, when all of a sudden it turns out there was a Fox reporter there. Not a reporter, but somebody who works for Fox, who had a camera, who was sent there to record these events. How in the world can this Fox reporter, Jennifer Griffin, think that Fox wouldn't, or any news media outlet, wouldn't want to report the decimation of Gaddafi's compound? It is the most egregious accusation that I can think of, and it was responded to so beautifully by Nick Robertson. Incidentally, the gentleman reporting there with Nick Robertson was a fellow by the name of Wolf Blitzer, who shows up on CNN sometimes. But I have to say that this is the kind of response, people should watch this constantly, because when the media is picked on as being liberal, when the liberal media is picked on as being too liberal, when the mainstream media is picked on as being liberal, they should look at this response from Nick Robertson and draw inspiration from it. This is the I have a dream speech of these kind of responses. This is the most inspiring type of response that the media should use. And this is an occasion on which which they should keep doing it. I mean, they should keep talking about what Fox has done here. It's not the biggest story in the world. It's not, you know, nothing, no lives were lost over this, thankfully. And that is one of the miracles of the story. But the point that Nick Robertson is making is that Fox is, you know, made up of alleged journalists, and when they're not being journalists and they're trying to play some sort of a media game, it demeans the entire profession. Nick Robertson has done everything he can not to demean that profession.
Eventually, you're going to have a computer disaster, your computer is going to crash, and you're going to lose all your files. But with Carbonite Online Backup, you don't have to worry about any of that because it automatically saves your files off-site. You can access all of your backed up files from any computer remotely, or if you want, you can also access your files through an iPhone or BlackBerry with Carbonite's awesome free app. Carbonite costs just $55 a year for unlimited backup for your PC or Mac. Think about it, that's less than $5 a month. Get a free trial at Carbonite.com by using the promo code TYT, and you also get 2 months free if you decide to buy.